Yeah, so for some people, like it's just an insurance policy, right? Okay, the world seems like it's kind of on fire, and maybe it's totally on fire, and maybe this is like how the fire gets put out is by having a currency that we can opt out with. In which case, right, if you're using it as an insurance policy, it's going to be a lower portion of your portfolio because if that's all you see it as, it's like okay, just in case I need to have this thing, then we have to say how much of your portfolio, like how much do we need to allocate here to protect you rather than how much are we allocating here because you simply don't want to be part of this fiat system anymore. You only want to have long-term savings and maybe short-term savings, right? Or you want to have long-term savings and some, long-term fiat stuff happening. But for the most part, right, like the majority of your portfolio is in Bitcoin. And so it's going to be really client dependent in that
Hmm.
regard. But that's kind of how I'm balancing is like we're just looking at the client situation, how Bitcoin fits specifically with them, how well they understand the technology, what their risk tolerance is, what their unique situation is, what their time horizon is for any of their assets in general, and then we're making a determination based on that. And what we found though is that over time, people just want to have more of their assets in savings and not in investment because they don't want the risks associated with being involved in an investment. And ultimately, right, the goal of holding Bitcoin is not that you convert back to fiat. The goal of Bitcoin is that it becomes a usable money in the future that people are actually transacting in, and people are already transacting in it today. So imagine what 15, 20, 30 years from now is going to look like. And the median age of my practice is 45. And so for a lot of people, right, it is really feasible that they can hold this asset for the next 20 years and be using it in retirement as like the only thing that they're using.
Hmm.
And so right, the goal is to get there for a lot of people. And if that's the case, right, it's going to be a much larger portion of their portfolio because they just want to be holding money, they don't want to be holding investments.